Hi, welcome back to Guessagaingaming. So often on this channel I've talked about XCOM 2 and turn-based games in general. I've covered quite a few in the time I've been doing it, and I thought just for fun, just out of interest, I would list my favourite 4 turn-based games. And firstly, you're probably thinking, why 4? Well, the reason there's 4 is because I wanted to include an XCOM version of whichever one it might have been, but they didn't fit into my top 3, which may be shocking in itself, but I'm going to explain that. Also, just for information, I've played quite a few turn-based games, or quite a lot of turn-based games actually, on PC as well, from Steam, but I wouldn't rate any of them as highly as the ones I'm going to talk about. So although I've played others that aren't on PlayStation, there's lots on Steam, you probably know, I wouldn't rate them as high as the ones I'm going to talk about from PlayStation. So some of them are available on both anyway. So firstly, why XCOM 2? And I could have added War of the Chosen, or probably could have added Enemy Within, or whatever, any of the different variants of the modern XCOM, and they would all have been number 4. And that's why I wanted to add a 4th, because I didn't want to leave out XCOM, but I think when you talk about modern turn-based games, it's very important, and it's a game I've enjoyed tons. I've probably played it more than all the other games I'm going to talk about, maybe not as much as one, but all the others. But the reason it's good and bad, and I'm not going to go into loads of detail, I'm certainly not going to go for any gameplay, this is just a retrospective of games I think are really good in the turn-based genre, is number 1, the gameplay is really fun. If you've played XCOM, which probably most people who've played turn-based games have, one version or another, you'll know it. The graphics are great, so that's a help. The graphics fit the situation really well, the character movements are great, the actual character modelling is really good as well. There's lots of customisation options where you can change how the characters look, etc, etc. I'm not going to get into trouble here because I'm sure there's some aliens up here, but I'm just doing this for something to do. So yeah, the actual way it works is great. So many other turn-based games have similar systems. Yeah, I knew there was some alien shit up there. Anyway, so that's really good. It's very simple once you understand the basics to get into how to do it. The game itself isn't simple, and it can be very annoying, but that's lots of games. But it's actually very simple to understand, and it's just a lot of fun to play. It's probably almost the most simple turn-based game that's really good graphically, that's really good in how it plays, that you can easily get into and just keep playing over and over again, and that's the good and the bad of it, which I'm going to come to. But it's a lot of fun, and you can just drop into it if you want to play a turn-based mission. You just fancy playing a turn-based mission in the game, XCOM is the one to drop into because you know exactly what you're doing. It's pretty simple. You can save where you want, which is always a thing that I think is good in most games, and you can, you get used to your characterizations and your different squad members, but if you lose somebody you can always get new ones. You can actually remake somebody to be the same as one of the ones that died if you really want to, if you really like somebody that much. Anyway, so that's the good. The reason I put it 4th, and there's a few things, and I'm not going to count the buggy part because this game is very buggy on PC. War of the Chosen is sometimes terrible, but that's not what I'm counting as anything for or against any of the games I'm going to pick in my list, so I'm not counting that. The reason I put it 4th as opposed to further up the list is the same reason I said it's really good. Yeah, there's loads and loads of fun to be had, tons, countless hundreds of hours to be had with this game, messing around with missions, different types of build, different people to send on missions, the gear and the wraith suits and the bits and pieces you get are all really useful. The stealth thing, the phantom thing where you can have someone that's invisible when you first get detected, and all those things, they're all good, but the negatives are that it's a game that, having played this tons and War of the Chosen, same, nothing ever changes. Yeah, of course, the actual mission locations are random, so they change each time you come into a new game, but the actual way the game plays and the things that happen in game are absolutely identical. Not one single thing ever changes, other than you'll be in a different mission area and the things you do in a mission can be different. You may get killed. One of your soldiers, you'll have different soldiers in your mission, of course, and they can get killed. And the mission areas are different, but they're still the same missions. You get the same things to do in the same context. The story progresses exactly the same. There's not even a tiny thing where a little different thing happens in the game. So once you've played it once or 10 times, you've played it for life. There's never going to be a different thing that happens with it, because actually a story in XCOM is very simple. Actually, it's very basic, and that's not negative again. That's not a bad thing, but it's very negative. It's very basic. There's nothing amazing about it. Yeah, this alien's invading, and you've got to stop them. But again, nothing changes. So there's no choice in what you do. You have to do the missions you need. You can do them in different orders, and you can continue doing random missions as long as you want and keep the game going, but the main story missions, they come in order. You have to do them. You can't make any decisions that are going to be different, and you end up at the same point in both this and War of the Chosen, whatever you do. So although it's got replayability galore because the game is itself fun, the game will never surprise you. Nothing different ever happens, and once you've played it, like I said many times, you'll know exactly what's going to happen, and there's not one single slight change ever. And I think that's, like I said, good and bad. It's the reason I put it as 4, because it's a very simple story, and it's a very simple story to understand. And when you've got a pretty basic story that never changes, it does have a certain lack of replayability over time. I love the game, so I've played it tons of times, but even now I come into it again, after a little while I think, okay, well I know what's going to happen next, and I've got to go and do that mission, and I've got to go and kill that one, I've got to go and get that, and you know, because nothing ever changes. So that's why I put it at 4. Like I said, it's a fantastic game, and it's the game I would recommend to anyone who wants to start playing a modern turn-based game of this type. But you know, those drawbacks, and of course the other thing which I didn't really want to mention, but it's a thing, is the weird way you have 99% hit chances and miss, but that's a famous XCOM thing. Anyway, thanks for watching Guessagaingaming, my top 4 turn-based games ever. I will be doing my 3rd favourite turn-based game ever in the very near future. Until then, take care for now.